Cheating allegations once again rock the poker world. This time it didn't happen on the felt. GG Poker, the world's largest online poker website, has confirmed that there was a player that was using some kind of hack in order to see people's hole cards and win money playing on the site. The post was made last night at 9:23 Central Time, with the user GG Superuser posting saying user MoneyTaker69 is alleged to be super using on GG Poker. In December, MoneyTaker won at 90 big blinds per 100 on GG Poker in 9,000 hands, playing 53% VPIP. Soon after, he binked a $150 MTT for 48,000 while playing an extremely volatile strategy, which aroused a lot of suspicion. GG Poker has acknowledged the situation privately and is preparing to address it, but it's important for the public to know immediately due to the significance of the super using. Since this post was made, GG Poker has issued a statement early this morning, which we'll get into here in a moment. But before we do, I want to take a look at the results of this player and talk about some of these hands.
Breaking news.
Over this sample in the post, we can see 9,000 hands from the user MoneyTaker69. Interesting note here about MoneyTaker, that screen name, and this is something that was addressed inside this post. There is a hacker group called MoneyTaker that is known to target different organizations and try to make money from hacking. Now, I think this might be a white hat hacker group, which means they do these things to try and help increase the security of these different groups, and perhaps they give this money back. I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, this is the screen name of a prominent hacking group that it does seem to be is confirmed the same group. Back to the sample here though, taking a look at these hands, we can see this user won $15,000 in a pretty straight up fashion, winning in both blue line and red line, aka the Holy Grail. Most players find a way to win in either non-showdown or they find a way to win at showdown. Doing both means you're doing it in a really aggressive style and picking up pots a lot when you're able to find good opportunities, but meanwhile have it when it gets to showdown. A very difficult style to embrace, and I don't think there are many players that have ever managed to pull this off very successfully. But even more so than this blue line red line comparison, we can see this player is playing just about half of all of his hands, almost never 3-betting, and winning at 84 big blinds per 100. At this point, we need to acknowledge a part of poker history that happened about 15 years ago now over on the Sirius network, which was Absolute Poker and Ultimate Bet. You could log into either and play with the same player pool of players. A player started to dominate in many forms of poker over on the site at Ultimate Bet, playing in a crazy style, loose, aggressive, all over the place in every pot. But the thing was, this player was smashing it. They were often finding incredibly crazy hero calls or getting thin value in places that would be scary to do so. And there's a lot of footage of some of the hands that this guy played under the screen name Pot Ripper. This culminated in a wild hand to end a tournament on the site. Pot Ripper completed the small blind heads up in the tournament with 10-9. Johnson checked his option, the big blind with 9 deuce off. Johnson checked King 4 and Pot Ripper bet 9,000. Johnson called. Maybe a little bit loose there from Johnson. You might want to put in the check full. But regardless, turn 7, Pot Ripper bet 13.5. Johnson check jammed for 200,000 and Pot Ripper called with just 10 high and no draw. The river bricked off a 5 of spades and Pot Ripper won the tournament. This is a pretty clearly insane and suspect hand, and thus an investigation was launched that started over on 2+2 with people talking about their experiences playing with Pot Ripper. Soon enough, some data was compiled and we managed to get this graph. This graph shows all of the people that played in terms of their win rate and how loose that they played. And you can see where Pot Ripper is. He is winning at an absolutely insane rate despite playing the loosest of any player on the entire site. Quick note, despite this high VPIP, he still wasn't as good as Postle. Now that Postle guy knew his way around the poker table.
Mike Postle. God. What the fuck? Is he a god? He knows this guy's a fucking god when it comes to reading. Mikey. God. Mike Postle is a god. Watch this.
Good God!
Using this data, the players were able to put together a pretty succinct argument as to why this had to be cheating. Well, I mean, really, that graph is enough, but you combine that with the hands, obviously something is up. There's a good thread that goes through all of the events of the Pot Ripper saga. I'll put a link in the description below. It's over on 2+2. Not too necessary for us to get all the way deep in the weeds, but you can see here, this is not unprecedented. And it did come out later that this guy had the ability to super use other players, aka he could see everyone's cards. This was, in this example, built into the site, so the player could see everyone's cards, and he used that and exploited it in order to make money playing poker. Moving back now to the current drama happening with GG Poker, and looking at this player's results while playing this kind of crazy style, we can see some similarities. Once again, this player winning at 84 big blinds per 100, not looking great, playing over half his hands, not 3-betting at all, and crushing at every stake that this guy decided to play at. Except he actually lost money playing heads up. So, you know, look at that, guys. Heads up is a pretty tough game. Now, Money Taker didn't just win playing cash games. He also won a $48,000 prize playing in a tournament on GG Poker. So in this kind of sample, this kind of win rate, this kind of style, it basically can't be a legitimate player. You know that something is up. But let's take a look at some of these awesome hands. Let's jump into it. First hand here, we can see that Money Taker has Jack Deuce and decides to call a raise in the big blind. He's up against 5-4 clubs. Flop comes Queen A7. He min bets, faces a raise, decides to call. He is ahead at this point. Then on the turn 6 of spades, he bets and the opponent jams, and he calls all in with Jack high because he's up against an open-ended straight flush draw. Oh, shit. Oh, God.
I call.
She calls?
It was a pure bluff catcher.
Oh my God. What is going on here?
Wait, so if this was cheating, and it was confirmed to be cheating.
I don't understand sort of what's happening right now.
I think the other one was fair. I think that was legit. No, that could go either way. Anyway, moving on. The other hands are a little less fun, but they are all pretty strange. I mean, it's lots of min betting in situations where the opponent is beat and then obviously calling when you face raises. There's one where a player bluff jams and he calls it off with just third pair. There's another one here where he has pocket twos on a board with lots of overcards, which would be every card because they're all overcards to pocket deuces, and then ends up betting the river and calling a jam on a flush board. There are tons of crazy hands in here. We don't got to go in too deep. Once again, I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out all of these hands. So we've deduced this player is cheating, and they are doing it in all of these games. But exactly how are they doing it? This is where we need to now get into the GG Poker statement, which was issued earlier this morning. Let's take a look. GG Poker issued a security update here saying, GG Poker recently spotted unusual game patterns and abnormal game client packets from a user named MoneyTaker69. Our technical security team investigated the issue, identified a client-side vulnerability, and fixed what caused these unusual circumstances. We have banned the user and confiscated the unfair winnings, equating to $29,795. A little interesting to me, that number seems a bit off from these other graphs, but maybe they lost some somewhere or had withdrawn. I don't really understand. But that's not the most important thing. Under a specific set of circumstances related to the thumbs up, down table reaction feature, which involves decompilation of our Windows game client, interception of network traffic, and alterations of our game packets, MoneyTaker69 was able to customize his own game client. These customizations could only be made to our Windows desktop game client, since part of our desktop client leverages the Adobe Air framework, which has attack vectors that other frameworks do not. At no point was the user able to access our servers or server data, including others' hole cards. Through this customized game client, he was able to deduce all-in equity by exploiting a client-side data leak vector. Our engineers detected this vulnerability and issued an emergency update on December 16th, aka my birthday, happy birthday to me, to disable the thumbs up down table reactions. However, the user was already in possession of the customized game client, which he blocked from receiving further updates, and was able to continue to accumulate the data leak during the flop and turn. Through this accumulated data, he could guess his win probability with reasonable assurance. So, what strikes me a little bit here is that this was updated on December 16th and we didn't get a public statement. Probably would have been a good thing to say to warn people that this was going on. I know you don't want to raise any kind of negative publicity for your business, but if we could have people that are cheating on the site, probably a good thing to talk about immediately, my personal opinion. We have since issued security patches to prevent further client-side data leaks of this kind and have added solutions that will detect and prevent players from customizing the game client to their benefit. We sincerely apologize for the incident, which has caused many poker players to worry about the game's integrity and shaken their trust in GG Poker to provide the best poker experience. We take this incident very seriously and continue to work hard not to disappoint poker players. Additionally, we are actively recruiting to double the size of our technical security team and are enlisting help from renowned security professionals to ensure that online poker is safer than ever. Those moves seem good. We would like to thank the poker community. This incident further proves the power of our community and the poker players' hive minds. As constructive community feedback gave us great confidence in resolving this issue, we will continue to take community feedback seriously and open our ears to all comments and suggestions. Let's build a safe future together. All right, well, I will say this, and I'm not defending GG Poker here, but I will say that at least they acknowledged this head on, admitted that it happened, and made a statement. In the past, when things like this happen to sites, they tend to just deny it or stick their head in the sand. So on that side, I do like what GG Poker has done here in terms of the statement. But this is a big problem and something that absolutely has to be fixed. You cannot have online poker where people know the cards. It just doesn't work. That's why if you're ever thinking about maybe I should play in a safe game, I'd highly recommend high stakes LA home games where only great things can happen. What could go wrong when you put 9 people in a room with a random dealer who might be from France and a deck of cards that are totally legit? Look at them. So legit. Definitely stick to high stakes home games, guys. That's the way to go. A lot of posts online about their thoughts on this, and I'm not a tech guy, so I don't really want to get into it. But one post by Diva-esque over on 2+2 said, so many security flaws in the GG design. Calculating all-in equity prior to all-in state, communicating all-in equity to client prior to all-in state, communicating all-in equity in unencrypted format, failing to force security updates to client before allowing further play, concealing a known vulnerability from users even after it was apparent that it was known and exploited, failing to conduct regular audits of accounts with extreme variance. I'm sure there are others to add to the list, but GG's response is wholly inadequate to address these problems. And I have to kind of agree with this. I do think that overall, this was handled poorly from GG Poker, and I hope that they do the right things to rectify it from here. But it also raises the question, is this the first? And to that, we don't know. Anyway, good luck at the tables over on GG this weekend. I'm sure they're going to be extra lucky for you. Thanks for tuning in. I will be posting further updates as they develop. And make sure to hit that subscribe button to join the team. I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.